Students are returning to school. There's so many things to think about, like how are we going to get kids to wear their masks and keep distance from each other and wash their hands? In this session, I'm going to share how a principal friend of mine gained student cooperation on COVID-19 restrictions by using circles. After the video, you can even download the COVID Community Guidelines Circle script to collaboratively establish school-wide expectations with your own students. So when we approach any issue in student behavior, it's helpful to take these 4 steps. First, whenever you want to make rules with people, kids or adults, your best bet is to establish expectations collaboratively. When people give input, they're much more likely to follow the rule. Next, you need to directly teach these expectations, post them around the school, and then reteach them regularly. Third, you need to plan to positively reinforce the new behaviors you're trying to teach, like celebrating when the whole class wears a mask all week. Finally, you'll need to have consistent consequences. Respond immediately when you see kids not washing their hands, or when they're standing too close, or walking the wrong way down the hallway. Remind them of the rule and then ask them to demonstrate it. If they forget their masks, have an easy place for them to pick one up. The COVID Community Circle script is part of the first step, establishing expectations collaboratively. A lot of kids are desperate to get back to school, and social distancing or wearing masks and washing hands, it's not the first thing on their mind. They just want to have fun with their friends. In this circle, we'll bring students together to establish expectations of wearing masks, keeping physical distance, washing their hands, and coughing and sneezing into elbows. Some students might enter the circle seeing these restrictions as unnecessary or taking away their freedoms, or maybe they haven't even thought about it. They're going to leave the circle having heard from their classmates concerns and needs. It appeals to kids' natural sense of empathy when they hear that their classmate or their teacher is worried about their grandparents or maybe their brother who has asthma. They're also going to see how all these actions contribute to the school's effort to keep everyone healthy so that the school can remain open. By having a circle, it frames the new school-wide expectation by what we're gaining, not by the freedoms that they feel they're losing. The COVID Community Circle script includes an introduction and circle guidelines. So I've included an alternate suggestion to replace the talking piece so that we can take turns without passing around objects. And then you're going to have a low-risk check-in question. What were you most looking forward to in coming back to school? This allows students to share in turn around the circle an easy-to-answer question to kind of get them participating. Now we'll get into the work of the circle. These 5 questions will guide the students through sharing their own concerns, thinking about others around them, creating behavioral guidelines, and agreeing on what will be the response if someone slips on the agreement. As the circle facilitator, consider going first on some of the questions to model to the students the kind of responses that you're looking for. For example, the question, what makes you concerned or feel less safe about being back at school? If you, as the teacher, start by talking about a vulnerable person in your life, like an elderly parent or a friend that's at high risk of a serious illness if they catch the virus, then the students will follow with their concerns about other people in their lives. Then you'll chart student suggestions for expectations and come to an agreement on final guidelines that are not in conflict with the guidelines set by your state, school district, or school administrator. Then the final round is really important. It's not always obvious for kids, no matter what age, how to respectfully and kindly respond to someone who isn't following a rule. So time permitting, you could also discuss how to respond if someone reminds you of the safety guidelines. To close the circle, you'll do a quick checkout, like let's all share one word describing how we feel at the end of our circle today. Remember that completing this circle and establishing expectations collaboratively is just the first out of the 4 steps that need to be taken. So discuss the other 3 steps with your colleagues to have a successful implementation of these guidelines. You can download the free circle script, COVID Community Guidelines, at lauramooiman.com, COVID Community. Or use the link in the description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our growing community of educators and click the notification bell to be notified when a new video has been posted. Thanks.